I'm so excited, and I've got some people coming over today, as I'm sure some of you will at home as well. But instead of me doing all the cooking like sometimes I do and I take too much on, I decided to make Easter all about potluck. So everyone's bringing things. I decided to make a little candy spread, but as always, I'm in charge of the wine. So knowing that I've got a lot of things going on, a lot of people coming over, and a lot of dishes, I wanted to grab a few different things that I thought might work, since everyone's flavors and preferences and how they cook are a little bit different. Now, I should start with the fact that we are having ham as our centerpiece. And whenever I've got pork on the table, I want you to think of one thing: pork and Pinot. Pinot Noir and ham, pork, whatever, they're the things that really go together when it comes to flavors and wines. And so that was sort of the anchor for what we're doing today, but I wanted to build around that. So I'm gonna taste you through the 3 wines that I grabbed from Target, all really reasonably priced. That's the other thing. I don't love to serve my super expensive wines on days where we just really can't take the time to appreciate them. So let's dive into the 3 wines and talk about how they taste. First up, Photograph Chardonnay. I've talked about this one before. It remains a favorite. Now, in the same way that Pinot Noir works really well for pork, if you wanted to do a white wine, Chardonnay is your alternative. So Chardonnay works really well in this camp too. Think Burgundy varieties, so Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. This one from the Central Coast I really love because it's not super oaky. It's really just got like a gentle whisper of it, which means it's gonna be clean and bright, and the Central Coast being a place that's very coastal. I mean, you look at the label, right? What does it make you think of? It makes you think of water and the ocean, that sort of sea spray. And to me, this is just perfect for going with lots of different dishes. Immediately as I smell it, it kind of smells like springtime, right? Like just a little bit of that cool breeze, that warm sun as things are just starting to shift and you're removing that outer layer. That's kind of what tells me the story of what's happening in this glass. So when you're thinking about lots of different dishes on the table, like if someone brings potato salad and someone brings macaroni and cheese, it's gonna work really well with both of those dishes and kind of ebb and flow throughout. And that's kind of what I'm after when I'm trying to pick wines for a potluck. I want things that are gonna be able to move. If I were to bring in an oaky Chardonnay, something that was really big, really rich, had all of that big, oaky, toasty, vanilla, baking spice flavor, it might overwhelm several of the dishes on the table. But by doing something like this that's lighter oaked, that's really about the grape, has more of those orchard, lemon, fruit kind of things going on, this is a wine that I think is going to sort of shift and move with lots of different dishes. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's just so drinkable on its own, right? Like, do we even need the food on the table? I mean, probably. All right, let's shift to the next one. The Pinot Noir is sort of my star of the show for the potluck Easter Sunday. All right, next up is the Firesteed 2019 Pinot Noir from Oregon. Now, I know I have waxed poetic about how much I love Oregon Pinot Noir, but I really just can't get enough of it because the quality is there, the value is there. I also love that it's under screw top. Even though I know a lot of you are worried about the screw top's amazing for me. But Firesteed Pinot Noir from Oregon. I love these Oregon Pinot Noirs because I think they really give you the best of both worlds when it comes to old and new. So if you're someone that really loves Burgundy, loves more of those savory flavors, alcohols that are a little bit lower, but maybe you've also got some people that love California, something that's a little bit more ripe, a little bit more voluptuous. This to me is always a great way to go because I think it captures the essence of both, even though it's uniquely Oregon. So right off the nose, I mean, it's jumping out of the glass, right? I smell a lot of that great sort of sun-kissed fruit, lots of cherry, and it just kind of reminds me of being young, right? Like, I think this is a day of youth. It's lots of candy and the kids are running around and we have so much fun during the day. And of course, we're eating tons of candy. I won't lie and say, oh, I haven't been snacking on these M&Ms, but to me, it smells a little licoricey, like it smells like being a kid again. It's kind of fun. And a little spicy. Now, why does this work so well with things like pork, like ham? Well, you don't want anything too rich and over the top when it comes to body because it will overwhelm that kind of protein. We don't have enough protein to bind with the tannins of something like a Cabernet. So instead we look to Pinot Noir, which typically has a little bit more acidity and a little bit lighter body. So it doesn't overwhelm it, but because pork tends to be so rich and a little bit more fatty and a little bit salty in this case, I think this works really well to sort of cut some of that fat, and then the ripeness of this fruit works to really balance out the saltiness as well. The other thing that I really love is that it's just so clean and bright and drinkable. So my recommendation would be, if you were to grab this, go ahead and stick it in your fridge for about 15-20 minutes before you're gonna serve it. I think it'll be perfect. All right, I know I said Cabernet is not the optimal choice, but I also know that we're gonna have some people that want a fuller bodied wine, right? And Pinot Noir, being a little bit light on its feet, being ethereal and soft and pretty, maybe for some people that's not gonna work. So what do we grab? We grab a Cabernet that's gonna be a little bit on the lighter side of things. Not light, but light for Cabernet. So Photograph Cabernet, again, another beautiful label from the Photograph team. I really love this coming from the North Coast, and what this is gonna do is give you all that intensity and concentration and sort of trick your brain into thinking there's maybe more body there than actually is. All right, where the Photograph Chardonnay was coming from the Central Coast, this is coming from the North Coast, so still a California Cabernet, but not coming from a place like Napa Valley where you're gonna see a little bit more intensity. The North Coast tends to offer something a little bit more transparent, something a little bit more rustic, and I really like that from a Cabernet standpoint because I think it feels grounded. It makes you feel like it's gonna go with the food, it's gonna work with a lot of different things. But that nose, I mean, it is distinctly Cabernet. So if you're not someone that loves, you know, all that big bright cherry and you want something that's gonna be a little bit more dark and brooding, maybe have a little bit more of those herbaceous tones, maybe have something that's more on the blue and black fruit side of things, this is a really good wine. It still has all that structure, it has all that great body, but the tannins are really mellow. So that dryness that you normally get, those big grippy tannins that you might get from other regions that produce Cabernet, they're really soft and integrated here, which means when you are working with lots of different dishes, the tannins aren't going to overwhelm. You're not gonna be sort of confined by what they need in terms of food to work really well with it. All right, so just to recap, we had the Photograph Chardonnay coming from the Central Coast. This was light and bright, all of that great Meyer lemon, a little bit of that sea breeze, something that's gonna work really well with all of your different dishes, including the ham. Then we had the Firesteed Oregon Pinot Noir 2019. This is really gonna be the star of the show for pairing with my sliced ham, but enjoyable on its own. And then third, of course, was the Photograph Cabernet Sauvignon coming from the North Coast. All of these can be found at Target. They're all gonna be under that $15 price point. I love serving these, and I have to tell you, this is not the first time that I've served any of these wines, and every time I do it, all of my friends and family ask me where I got it, how they can get it, and it makes me so happy because to me, that's the real testament of a great wine, right? I hope everyone has a great Easter, continue enjoying this beautiful weather here in the spring, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.